Hi everyone, good to see you again all. I hope you all will be fine. The head of the Federal Integrity Commission, Judge Haider Hanoun, said that the commission will launch a major confrontation and a fateful battle against corruption and the corrupt at all levels. This came during the launch of the activities of the conference organized by the Federal Integrity Commission in cooperation with UNODC and Basra Governorate, entitled Supporting Partnership and Dialogue Between the Public and Private Sectors, the Way to Combat Corruption. The head of the Integrity Commission stressed, according to a statement received by Shafak news agency, that the major confrontation and the fateful battle against corruption and the corrupt has been prepared for in the past months, and the Commission is about to announce its launch at all levels, calling on the private sector to be an active part in it, by not participating corruption and his obligation to report corruption crimes. The head of the Integrity Commission described corruption as the greatest danger and the worst enemy that impedes all attempts at progress and the main undermining of the pillars of development, noting that the Commission has completed the preparations for the battle against corruption, in which victory depends on the amount of those preparations, which includes strengthening partnership and dialogue between the two sectors, public and private, and take measures to prevent the involvement of the private sector in corruption, pursuant to the provisions of the Articles and Provisions of the United Nations Convention Against Corruption, which Iraq joined a decade and a half ago, noting the importance of citizen interaction and participation in it, and the cooperation and participation of community actors, trade unions, federations, civil society organizations, and non-governmental organizations. He warned of the repercussions of the phenomenon of corruption and its extension to the economy and its contribution to impeding economic growth, wasting part of the state's resources, and the flight of national and foreign investments due to the absence of incentives, pointing out that corruption violates the distributive justice of income and resources, the decline in economic effectiveness, the widening gap between the rich and poor groups, as well as the weakening of revenues public of the state, as a result of evading paying taxes and fees, explaining that corruption is one of the causes of poor spending of state resources and depriving important sectors such as health, education and services from benefiting from them, and the low efficiency of public investments and the weakening of the level of quality in infrastructure due to the bribes that are paid, to ignore the required standards, specifications. For his part, the governor of Basra expressed his optimism about holding this conference in the province, pointing out that this represents a message in the launch of the partnership between the private and public sectors in this province, which has embarked on reconstruction and is on its way to achieving development. This would be a starting point for the reconstruction of the country in all its governorates, praising the work of the Federal Integrity Commission and its role in removing the corrupt from state institutions, and ensuring the preservation of public money, stressing the importance of cooperation between state institutions and oversight agencies, in order to preserve the public budget from spoilers, and invest it in the best way for reconstruction. For his part, the head of the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime in Iraq, Ali al-Bari, indicated that the economies of the Middle East and North Africa region face great challenges to develop trade and investment related to corruption, calling for the need to ensure fair competition by raising awareness and strengthening the implementation of joint anti-corruption provisions and applying measures deterrent to combat bribery. In turn, Ibrahim al-Baghdadi, the head of the Iraqi Economic Council, warned against administrative and financial corruption, accusing it a dangerous phenomena facing public and private institutions alike and having a significant impact on the process of construction, reconstruction, and economic, political and social development in the country. He pointed out that a large part of the private sector is the major victim of corruption, which must be combined with benevolent efforts to confront it and stand against it, stressing that the Iraqi Economic Council and businessmen and women from federations, organizations and entities of the Iraqi private sector stand entirely on the side of the oversight bodies, as they consider themselves the best partner and supporter, and noted for its role in curbing the corrupt and reducing corruption paths, praising the Sudanese government and its ministerial approach for issuing many decisions, which he described as bold and courageous in the interest of various sectors, including supporting the private sector and fighting corruption. And yes, dear all, the CBI gave the banks the instructions on implementing such as the rate and amount of notes and timing of the release. And the people for the most part are expecting the implementation as well. And yes, I am very expecting the implementation this weekend. Inshallah. Thanks, take care.